Hi, this is Sara Levin, the Artful Inker. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States, and today I'm sharing my design team card for this week's Spot Creative Challenge that is using the color combo of Petal Pink, Night of Navy, and Soft Seafoam. Let's take a quick look at my card here using the Snailed It stamp set, and now let's get started. For this card, we're going to use the Snailed It bundle, which consists of the Snailed It stamp set and then the snail dies. These can be purchased separately, or when you purchase them as a bundle, you do receive a 10% discount. And they are in the current January through June mini catalog from Stampin' Up, or you can find them in my Stampin' Up store. We're going to start with a piece of basic white and my Night of Navy ink pad. And let's just tap on some ink here. And this is the larger snail. And give it a rub all over and a second to transfer the ink. And set that aside. And then I've got the little toadstool grouping. And tap the ink onto that as well. There we go. And set these stamps aside. Let me close up my ink. And then I need my Stampin Blends. And I've got the Dark and Light Night of Navy, the Dark and Light Soft Seafoam, and the Dark and Light Petal Pink, as well as my color lifter. So let's start with the Soft Seafoam. And let's uncap both of the brush ends. I'm going to start with the dark and come up here in the eye stalks and then just flick in along the front and bottom of the snail. And then I'm going to come in with the light and come across that and blend that up a little bit. And then I'm going to come back in with the dark, because of course we've got the shell here that's creating a shadow. So there'll be more shadow on this. And so we get a little bit of light spot here in the middle. Let me put the Soft Seafoam aside. And then we're going to use the Petal Pink. And I'm going to start with the dark Petal Pink and come in here on the bottom and then from the center and leave kind of a light channel. And then just bring the light Petal Pink across that. And then I need to turn. That works better for me. And I'm going to do the same thing here. And bring the dark in from the edge, both edges. And then come across lightly with the light Petal Pink. And when you're done, you'll see that we've created the sense of curve to this shell by doing this. And I am sort of trying to line up, not working too hard at it, but a little bit trying to line up where I've left that lighter space in there. So they look like they go together. And this needs to be darker. Lots of shadowing on this piece. Okay. And then working the center with the dark. And then I'm just going to come in here with the light, and let's turn this one more time. And you may not need to turn that. Turning just helps me to see what I'm doing a little better. Okay, so that's our snail. And then we need to move over here to the toadstools. And I've got my dark and light Night of Navy. Let me pull this caps off. And I'm going to start in here carefully with the dark. If you prefer here, you can use the bullet tip rather than the brush. So that you have less ink flowing. And then I just want to blend across and try not to get ink in the white dots here, or the dots that I want to leave white here. So you got to slow down and be just a little more careful so that you're not drawing that ink into too closely to the white dots. And then come here for some shading underneath. To kind of give it a little dimension. And then let's put the cap back on the dark, and I'm going to move over to my bullet tip on the light. So I'm going to color in here. And then I'm going to come and color here. And you'll notice I'm not doing any blending on these bits. Now this should have had a little time to dry, and so I'm just going to pull in some of the light ink here at the top, and same thing here. It's a way to layer in some more shading by letting your blends dry. Okay, and then I'm going to come in here with the dark petal pink. And color in some of my white spaces here. Okay, and then let's grab that light and dark soft sea foam. I'm going to use the bullet tips of these and color in our leaves over here. I'm using the dark right now on these lower leaves. Okay, and then we're going to start and do a little shading as we move up. So I'm putting the dark in at the bottom and then coming in with the light. And since this is a small space, the bullet tips are easier. They also put down less ink at one time, so you're less likely to have it flow over the outline. Okay, and then I want to come in here and add some little greeny bits where we've got lines for grass. So I'm using the dark here. Let me cap these up, and oops. Then I'm going to come in with my dark petal Petal Pink, the bullet tip, and just come down this one edge and add a little bit of shading across there. Okay, let's move these aside. And I have gone ahead and used the snail dies to cut out a pair that I have previously colored. And I want to take my paper snips then, and I'm going to remove the package from the top here. I want to leave those great eyelashes and just come right down in here and trim this out. Okay. And then let's put my paper snips away, and then we're going to do just a little bit of shading in here. So I'm going to put down some of my light Night of Navy on my piece of vellum, and then I'm going to use my color lifter and use my Stampin Blends technique that I've shown you before, and we're just going to color in some shadowing here. And by using the vellum and this Stampin Blends technique, I have a little more control over the amount of color that is going down, and not as much as if I were actually coloring with the light Night of Navy onto my cardstock. And in this case, I'm just using this blue the way that I might a gray shadowing, but I decided that I wanted my shadowing for this to be blue rather than gray because it goes with the color challenge that I'm working with this card. Okay, and that removes some of those hard white edges and adds a little more definition 3D effect to this. And then you just brush out your color blender tip to remove any leftover ink. Let's set those aside. And then I've used a piece of Night of Navy with one of the snail dies, and this one's great. It's got that postage stamp like edge and then stitching all around. And then my next piece, I've got a piece of Whisper White, and I've used the Seabed 3D embossing folder. And as you can see, there's some great texture, and even though this is not an under the sea kind of card, this has the feel of lots of foliage. And then finally, I've used the Flowering Vine dies and to cut a piece of soft sea foam. Now I'm using those Flowering Vine dies and the Vine Design stamp set for an online class that has sign-ups going on right now. So if you would like to play with them and have some fun new ideas, you can hop on over to my blog and sign up for that class. So we're just going to layer this piece of soft sea foam onto the card. Let me cap this. You'll notice I did not glue down all of the edges. I like to leave them loose because they add a little more texture to our piece by being loose. And then we're going to put dimensionals all around. And let's get another one here in the center. And then I think, because this has been softened as much as it has in the embossing process, I want another dimensional up along that edge. Okay, so my card base is Night of Navy, and it's cut 4 1/4 by 11 and scored at 5 1/2, and I've got a white panel for the inside and a piece of Night of Navy for a little accent strip in here. So let's just line up my piece on my grid paper and make sure this is straight, and it looks like I've cut my Night of Navy strip just a tad too long, and that's okay. I'll take my paper snips. I'd rather be too long than too short, and cut that off. And then we'll use multi-purpose glue on the back here and line this up. Again, you're looking at if the top and 2 sides are straight, then the card itself will be straight in here. Let's close up the glue a moment and pull off our backing pieces on these dimensionals. Oops. There we go. And again, don't need a tag along there. Let's line this up. Okay. Make sure we've pressed all of those down around the edge so that it's going to lay nicely. And dimensionals on the back of our postage stamp-like piece here. Okay, and then we're going to layer these guys up. So, of course, I want dimensionals on them. And the mini dimensionals are great for getting out to some of these very small areas that a full dimensional doesn't fit in. Okay. And I'm going to leave that a moment and go ahead and put my dimensionals on the back of the snail. And then before I finish the snail, I'm going to lay these so that I've got an idea of where they're fitting here. So I need the mini dimensionals up in the eye stalks. Okay, I'm hanging over just a little bit here, so I'm going to trim this guy. And I usually do just a little bit of an angle because that's easier. And then these two, maybe all 3, need to be doubles. So we're going to go ahead and double them up. Okay, let's pull this out of the way. And okay, and then let's add some embellishment to this. So I've got my holiday rhinestones here and my Take Your Pick tool, and I'm just going to use some of these blue rhinestones. And just a little something there. And there's our Snailed It card. Thanks for stopping in today. If you're in the U.S., please purchase some of your Stampin' Up! Supplies in my store. You can use the link in the description below. Give this video a thumbs up and share it with your card-making friends. And subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the bell if you'd like to be notified the next time I upload a video. Have a great day. Bye.